Hey everyone, Robert here, and this is my Gmail inbox. And believe it or not, this is usually the way that it is. It's usually pretty clean. My spam email stuff is pretty clean as well. And if we have email, we are going to get spam at one point or another. But I wanted to show you, at the very least in Gmail, the rules that I have implemented, as well as giving you another tip for getting rid of spam and keeping it out of your inbox. Now, most of us are familiar with this interface in one way, shape, or form. It may look different for some, but essentially you are going to go to the same place. So up in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see the little gear underneath your ID. You're going to go ahead and click on that to get into your settings. So go ahead and click on settings, and you are going to be taken to basically the nuts and bolts of your email or your email here. Now what we are wanting to do is go to filters and blocked addresses. Now before we get into this, I want to give you the reason why we do and combat spam in this way, as opposed to going into and just clicking on the unsubscribe. Okay, me being a former marketer and utilizing email marketing, stuff like that, by law, what I had to do near the end, because I operated through Aweber, what I had to do is I had to stick a link at the very bottom of my email that ask anyone that didn't want to receive this to click on the unsubscribe, and they went through all that. You've probably seen that in one flavor or another, either through marketing or through product stuff. Well, by law, they have to unsubscribe you, but what this does is it lets them know that there is an active user on the other side of this email that has just done something. And what this does is that when you agree to subscribe to this, usually you're agreeing to get your name sold or passed around to other companies. And then the other companies will look at that and say, well, there's an active person here. And basically it doesn't accomplish anything. You may not get email from that, but if you'll notice, you're going to get email from a bunch of other companies that you never heard of, and that is one of the reasons why. Because clicking on that unsubscribe link tells them that there is someone alive at the other end of this email. So it's never really a good idea to combat it from that end, but we do have to go through registration, either through social media or through registration of product, software, subscription services, one way or another. And we do this, we have to sign our email and things like that to be able to get these things, but we don't want all of the offers and things like that that they come up with. So we're going to go back to this. We're going to go back to the little gear, and we're going to go to settings, and we are going to go to filters and blocked addresses. So go ahead and click on that. Now if you'll notice here, I have four rules or four filters that are already applied here. I've got matches that match unsubscribe, unsubscribing. I've got matches from a particular email address, sidroth.org, and I've also got matches describing Haro. Now it looks a little bit different here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and take you through the process of what I've done. Now we are going to go ahead and create a new filter. So if you're wanting to do this, if this is empty for the first time, you're going to left click once or control click if you're a Mac user. You're going to go ahead and click and set up a new filter. And this is part one of the process. You are going to either put this from the sender, like let's say you're going through like Bed Bath & Beyond, okay, just for the sake of argument. They have a particular from email address that it comes through. You can put that thing there, or you can make sure that you find words that are in a particular subject line, subject header that may be the same. has the words, doesn't have the words, that type of thing. Now, typically has the words and doesn't have the words applies to the body, but essentially all spammy email addresses usually have the same type of stuff. They usually have somewhere on there unsubscribe or unsubscribing or something like that. Hence the fact that I have these filters set up. Unsubscribe. If it has this, it does not even go into my inbox. It usually goes into like my spam filter, or it goes to immediately delete. And so you go ahead and you do that, but you have to be careful, because if you put down a particular word or a phrase that maybe someone that you want to be in contact with uses, you got to be careful, because that email could go right in there. So it's good to set up your email addresses before, like in your rules or your filters that bypass other rules, that type of thing. So what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and say that the subject letter has, or the subject header has the words, I'm getting like from 5 different companies headers that say make money. So money. We're going to go ahead and do that. So my spammy email, for the sake of argument, is going to have in the subject header make money. So what we're going to do is create filter with this search, and we are going to go ahead and assign an action to this particular filter. Now you can skip the inbox, you can mark it as red, you can star it, or you can apply it to the label, and you can choose any labels that you have already set up. And we'll go ahead and get into a helpful tip with this in just a little bit. But if you are sure that this particular phrase or whatever it is that you're using, that you don't even want to read it, you can go ahead and click on delete it, and it is going to go ahead and create the filter. So this is a neat little thing that you can go ahead and do. We're going to go ahead and delete this, because I really, I could leave it there, but I'm going to go ahead and just delete it. And you just go over to the other side and you can delete it. And if you make up a filter and it's not working, you can go ahead and go through the edit process. Whenever you go through an edit, you can either change the words, you can change all of this, and you can go ahead and click on continue and decide what you want to do with it, the modified actions that you want to do with it. But I'm going to go ahead and delete this thing just because I just don't want it there, and delete it. Now, the cool thing about setting up these filters is that you can make things super organized for yourself. Instead of everything going into your inbox, you can set up a filter like, we're going to go ahead and create a new filter, that any email from the from address, let's say you have a relative or business or whatever, you can set it up to where when it comes from a specific email address, that it goes to a specific filter. And you'll notice off to the left hand side, I have all of these labels that are set up, that I have email assigned to. So you can organize on the fly. So if you have something from family members, you can set up a label off to the side labeled family, and it immediately goes there. If you have a home-based business, you can set up a label and call it whatever business, XYZ business, and have all of your email that comes from specific clients go directly to that business. I mean, it is a really cool thing. And if you've got like a pesky person, I want to show you something. I used to have a person that sent me large attachments, like 50 megabyte attachments, just as a joke. And you can set it up to where if it has an attachment, that it goes ahead and sends it to a particular label if you want to, or you could just you could delete it, or you could go ahead and categorize that particular thing. You can do a lot of things with these filters that that saves you a lot of time and having to go through and filter all of this stuff out. But if you like with regard to attachments, size greater than megabytes, kilobytes, or bytes. Bytes, that's funny. In any case, you can set that stuff, but Google gives you, or Gmail gives you, a lot of options with regard to organizing your email on the fly. So if you're inundated with spam, take a look through your spam email. And if they're coming from one particular spot, then set up a filter that the from is the email address, and decide what you want to do with it. If the subject is saying the same stuff, make money or whatever it is, put it in the subject and leave it as broad as possible if you think it's going to wipe out your spam. And just keep in mind that it could affect some email stuff. So you want to make sure that it goes to your spam folder, and then you can go back and look at it. Or if you send it into the delete, that it automatically deletes it. Usually with the trash, it will stay in there for a while, but spam, it'll get rid of it after 30 days, so you want to make sure that it does that. If you have few contacts, you can tell them, hey, I've set up these rules. Please don't use this word or this phrase, otherwise I won't read it or whatever. Okay, so that is one thing that you can do, and you can kind of get an idea of what filters I have applied in here. The second thing that you could do if you're just inundated with it, and it's something that I've done with several of my things, like with my Gmail address, this thing is getting quite a bit of stuff. If I really wanted to, I could go ahead and just create a new Gmail account, or create another Gmail with a different front portion of it, xyz@gmail.com, and send that out to all of my contacts, all of the people that I want to stay in contact with, and just tell them, don't pass it around, and if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. But you can set up another email address, and if you're one of the few people in the world that doesn't have email and are setting it up for the first time, set up 2 email addresses at different places, like one at Gmail, one at Yahoo, or Live Mail, or someplace like that. Use one email for all of the online stuff, like if you're signing up for Facebook or Twitter, or registering a product, or going through Amazon or whatever, eBay, PayPal, whatever. Use that email solely for that, and use that as a spam email. You're going to get crud with all of that stuff. So just use that email for your spam email, and then use the second email for your personal contacts, and just set it up as that. And you can, if worst comes to worst and you just simply don't want to deal with it, you can set up a new email someplace else and just tell your people, hey, I'm moving here. This email is not going to be read anymore, and just use it as kind of a garbage dump, for all of that stuff. But continue using that email, for signing up stuff. That way all the spammy stuff gets sent to that one email and not to your other one. But in any case, you can go through your settings, just to review, in Gmail, and go through filters and blocked addresses, and go down to create new filter, and just go through the step-by-step process there. And usually within Yahoo Mail or Live Mail or the other things, they have a variation of this. And it should be found within their settings, that type of thing. Or go through the technical support. I go through Gmail through my stuff. This is my Gmail account. Gmail is awesome, by the way. And I would go ahead and do this, set up your filters, and secondly, work with another email address and use that primarily for your spam. But I got to tell you, folks, this is what my my inbox looks like all the time. I have filters set up so that whenever it comes in from specific people, it goes to these specific filters, or labels, I should say. And that's it. Try this out. Let me know in the comments how this works. Hopefully it will eliminate your spam. And I can't emphasize enough, don't click on the unsubscribe link. It's going to show people that you're active. Work your filters here. And as a final reminder before I sign off, You can only do this in Gmail from your computer online. You can't do it through the app. It doesn't give you these settings options as of the making of this recording. So you're going to have to do it from the computer, and the rules will filter down through your mobile devices. So give this a try. Hope this helps. Let me know in the comments how this works, and I will see you soon. Later.